It's Friday night. You're at a restaurant with six friends. Everyone is talking, laughing, showing photos on their phones. You're laughing too. You're saying the right things at the right time. Then you get in your car to drive home. And before you even leave the parking lot, a question comes to your mind. Why do I feel so alone right now? That question doesn't make sense at first. Nobody ignored you tonight. Nobody was rude to you. You spent 3 hours with people you like the most. So why do you feel lonelier now than you did before you got there? By the end of this video, that question is going to make a lot more sense than it does right now. Most people think loneliness only has one cause, being physically alone. But if that was true, a room full of people would always fix it. Some of the loneliest people you will ever meet have full calendars, close families, and long relationships. So here's what this video is actually going to explain. Why you can spend an entire evening surrounded by people and still end up feeling completely alone moments later. Think about the last time someone texted you, "Hey, how's everything going?" You probably type back something like, "All good, just busy with work." Maybe you even added a smiley face at the end, just to seem lighter about it. Now think about whether that was actually true the day you sent it. You can spend a whole evening talking and never say one thing that actually matters to you. You can talk about work, movies, the weather, and what everyone else has been doing all week. Then you go home, and nobody learned anything real about you that night. Not because they didn't care, but because you never gave them the chance to know it. Picture this. A coworker asks you to get coffee. You talk for an hour about a difficult client and a deadline that's stressing you out. When you leave, they know exactly what happened to you this week. But they still don't know how you actually felt about any of it. That's two completely different kind of conversations, and most people only have one of them. Here's where people get confused. They think talking to someone and feeling connected to someone are the same thing. They are not. You can talk to a person every single day and never feel close to them. You can also talk to someone for 20 minutes and leave feeling completely understood. The difference isn't how much time you spend. It's how honest you're willing to be in that time. Now picture a family dinner. Everyone's talking about work, the news, traffic. Then you remember something that actually happened to you this week. Something that's been sitting heavy on your mind. For a second, you think about bringing it up. Then you tell yourself, this is not the right time. So you don't say it. Dinner ends, everyone hugs goodbye. You drive home carrying the exact same thing you walked in with. Not because your family doesn't love you, because the real conversations never actually happened. Think about the first time you went through a breakup and someone at work asked, "How was your weekend?" You said, "Good, pretty relaxed," instead of telling them the truth. Nobody caught you in the lie. The conversation moved on exactly the way it was supposed to. This is why loneliness confuses so many people. From the outside, everything looks fine. You have people around you, you have plans on the weekends, you have conversations every day. So you start assuming something must be wrong with you. This is also why so many people respond to this feeling by filling up their calendar even more. More plans, more group hangouts, more weekends booked. So there's no empty time left to notice the feeling. It works for a few hours at a time. When the night ends, everyone goes home and the same quiet feeling starts haunting you again. But what if the thing you're missing was never about more company? What if it's understanding? Here's a question worth sitting with. When people think about you, what version of you comes to mind? The funny one? The reliable one? The one who always seems fine? Now ask yourself something harder. How much of that version is actually you? And how much of it is just the version that's easier for other people to deal with? Most people build this version without even noticing they are doing it. You skip mentioning that you're struggling because you don't want to bring the mood down. You laugh at a joke that doesn't actually land for you because it's easier than explaining why. Over years, this becomes automatic. People know your name, your job, your habits, and your jokes. But they don't know what actually keeps you up at night. Many people experiencing this kind of loneliness doesn't realize what it is. They think they are just tired or stressed or becoming more introverted with age. It's confusing because they are surrounded by people almost every single day. This even happens with the people closest to you. Picture lying next to your partner at night. They ask, "You have been quiet today, everything okay?" And even though something has actually been bothering you all day, you say, "Yeah, just tired." They believe you because there's no reason not to. The moment passes, nothing about it looks like a problem from the outside. But loneliness has never actually been measured by how many people are there in the room with you. It's measured by how many of those actually know who you really are. This is why a person can have hundreds of contacts in their phone and still feel completely alone. It's not that those relationships are fake. It's that none of them ever got past the surface. Everyone in the group chat knows what you're doing this weekend. Almost none of them know what you're actually afraid of. Try this sometime. Scroll through your phone contacts and stop at 10 random names. For each one, ask yourself honestly, would this person know if something was seriously wrong in your life right now? Without you having to explain it first. For most people, the answer is no for almost every single name on the list. That's not because those people don't matter to you. It's because none of those relationships were ever given the chance to go deeper than plans and small talk. Now the question is, can this change? Yes, it can. But not by adding more people to your life. Adding more surface level relationships to a life that already has plenty of them won't fix this. Next time someone asks, "How have you been?" instead of giving the automatic answer, you give a slightly more honest one. Not your whole life story, just a little more than you would normally say. You tell a close friend you have actually been feeling anxious instead of saying you're fine. You tell your partner you've been feeling distant instead of pretending everything is normal. These moments feel small in the moment, but they are often the exact moments that decide whether a relationship stays surface level forever or actually becomes something real. Of course, not everyone will respond the way you're hoping. Some people won't know what to say. Some will change the topic. Some relationships will stay exactly where they have always been. That's normal part of being honest with people. But every honest moment like this teaches you something important. It shows you who actually gets curious who listens, and who stays. Those are the relationships worth putting your time into. Not because they're perfect, but because they're real. One of the biggest surprises for people who start doing this is that their social circle sometimes gets smaller. Maybe there's a friend you have known for 10 years, someone you always thought you were close to. You start being a little more honest with them, and instead of getting closer, they slowly stop reaching out as much. At first, that can feel like a failure. That friendship worked for 10 years because you kept certain parts of yourself hidden. When you stopped hiding them, the friendship didn't know what to do with the real you. At the same time, a few relationships usually become stronger than they have ever been. Maybe it's a sibling you barely talked to before, or a friend you didn't consider that close. You tell them something real, expecting them to change the subject, and instead, they actually ask a follow-up question. Maybe they even say, "I have felt that too. I just never said it out loud." That's often how you find out who was capable of knowing you all along. You just never gave them the chance before. It's worth saying clearly that this is not about testing people or forcing deep conversations onto everyone you meet. Not every relationship needs to go that deep, and that's completely fine. Some people are meant to stay as co-workers or gym friends or people you only ever talk about football with. The problem only shows up when every single relationship in your life stays at that level and none of them ever gets the chance to go further. Now let's go back to that Friday night. You leave the restaurant. You get in your car. For a few seconds, everything is quiet. Then that same familiar feeling shows up again. Why do I still feel so alone? Nothing was wrong about the dinner. Nothing was wrong about the people at the table. You laughed, you enjoyed every conversation, you stayed till the very end. But if you think back carefully, how much of that evening did actually anyone get to know you? Not what you did this week, not where you have been, but about you. Maybe the conversation never got there. Maybe nobody asked the right question. Maybe you almost said something real and decided against it at the last second. Whatever the reason, the results feel the same. You spent hours with people and still didn't feel connected to a single one of them. This doesn't mean the friendship is broken or that people don't actually care about you. It just means the conversation never had the reason to go past the surface. And nobody realized that mattered until you are already sitting alone in the car. Here's something worth remembering though. Being private and being lonely are not the same thing. You don't have to tell everyone everything about your life. That's not the goal. The goal is making sure there are at least a few people in your life who actually knows the real version of you. If there's nobody, then loneliness follows you into a room full of people who you like. The next time you're sitting in your car after another evening with your people and that same feeling shows up, don't ask yourself why you're so lonely. Ask a more specific question instead. Did anyone actually got to know me tonight? If the answer is no, your loneliness suddenly makes a lot more sense. But if the answer is yes, even just with one person, pay attention to how different the drive feels home. Because loneliness was never really about how many people are there in your life. It's about knowing at least one of them who actually knows you.